Hello, all you cool cats and kittens, and welcome to Miss Brown attempting to teach math from her laundry room with Muffin. Oh, with Muffin. Okay, Muffin's not gonna be here the whole time, but she just did want to say hi, so hello. Okay, now Muffin's gonna go away. All right, today we are going to learn about identifying benchmark degrees. So we're taking a journey back to where we were when we were in school all of that time ago. We left off with some like finding benchmark degrees, but also with like lines and rays and points. And so we're going to start from there. And today we are going to go over identifying benchmark degrees. So when we look at identifying benchmark degrees, I'm going to share my screen the right way this time. When we look at identifying benchmark degrees, we want to make sure that we understand what a degree is. And a degree are the units that our angles are measured in. So just like kilograms or Fahrenheit or time like PM and minutes and things like that, we've got degrees for our angles. So when we look at it, we want to start with a full circle. Our first full circle is measured at 360 degrees. It's the full thing. Another way of saying that would be like 4/4. So one whole or one, let's see, 2 halves or 3/3. Another way is, another benchmark we have is 270. 270 would be like 3/4. We don't use 270 a lot, but we do use 180 a lot. And this is a straight line. Notice this is a line because it's got arrows on the two sides. And it is 180 or 1/2 of our circle. And then finally, the other one that you're going to use a lot is a 90-degree angle. And this 90-degree angle is 1/4 of your circle. And a 90 degrees looks like the letter L. And so whenever we look for a 90-degree angle, we're going to look for something that looks like the letter L. So when we go to identify these angles, we use a lot of times the labels when it's around 180. Here, let me see if I can get this a little bit focused for you guys. There you go. So when we go to notice, we have our right angle here. And if it's less than a right angle or less than 90 degrees, it is an acute angle. And a larger one that is more than 90 degrees would be an obtuse angle. So now let's do some word problems with some of these benchmarks in it. I'm going to start and show you how to do a couple of these, and then you're going to follow up, and I'm going to give you some time to do it on your own. So it says, what is the measure of the angles in degrees? Knowing that this is 3/10. Well, one thing that we can definitely tell for sure is we can figure this out by looking at our benchmarks. So I'm going to pull these benchmarks out for you again. And notice when I have this 90 degrees, it is the perfect letter L. So let's look and compare that to this one. Notice this is just a little bigger than that perfect letter L. So I know that this is going to be greater than 90 degrees. Greater than 90 degrees. But it is not a full line yet. So it will be less than 180 degrees. So I can go and see which one of my, here, let me move this up here for you. Once again, Miss Brown just attempting to teach from her laundry room. You can see that there are only a few options that we have. So we know it's greater than 90 degrees. So I'm going to cross 3 and 90 out because I didn't say equal to, I said greater than. And then 95 and 108. So now that we've kind of narrowed it down, let's take a look at what would happen to see, knowing that this is 3/10, we're going to do 3/10, and a whole circle would be 360. If a whole circle is 360, we are looking for the numerator of this fraction. And the way that we can do that is say 10 times what equals 360. 10 times 36 equals 360. We know that because if we took our 0 and put it on the other side, it's 360. Because it's 360 times 1 now, which equals 360. So if I'm taking 10 times 36 to get to 360, whatever I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator. So I'm going to take 3 times 36. And if I take 3 times 36, 36 times 3, we've got 6 times 3 is, carry that 1 over, and then 3 times 3 is, and add your 1. So you can see that this angle is 108 over 360. That leaves 108 for our answer because it is equal to 3/10. What type of angle is shown here? Let's go back to what we wrote down earlier. And we can see that this is we need to see based on our benchmark of a right angle, which is 90 degrees, if this is more or less than 90 degrees. When we see that it is 45, we know that it is smaller than 90 degrees. So less than 90 degrees is an acute angle. So this would be an acute angle. Let's look at number 9 now. It says, a circle is divided into 8 equal sections. An angle measures the same as the total measure of 3 of the sections. What is the measure of the angle? So that means our part is 3 of the sections, and our whole is 8 equal sections. If we got a part whole, then we have a fraction. So I'm going to put that fraction of 3/8 down below. I am also going to draw this question out. It says a circle is divided into 8 equal sections. So I am going to take a circle and divide it into 8 equal sections. 2, 4, 6, 8. An angle measures the same as the total measure of 3 of the sections. So we're looking at what the angle is that measures a total of 3 of the sections. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And to make it clear, I'm going to put my lines out because this is my angle I'm looking at. What is the measure of the angle? So let's take this angle and look at it against one of our benchmark angles. So I'm going to get my benchmark angles out and see that if I put this next to my 90 degrees, that it is greater than 90 degrees. So that's going to take out a few of my answer choices because this is less than 90 degrees and this equals 90 degrees. And it's clear when we look at our benchmark that it is bigger than 90 degrees. Now, this is a pretty easy one because when I look at my benchmark angles, I can see how big 270 degrees really is. 270 degrees is 3/4 of my circle. And 3/8 is not. It is smaller. So, and I can tell when I put the visuals up next to each other also. So 270 would be way too big, which means our only answer is 135. Do you notice how I used my benchmark fractions to do a process of elimination there? All right, so these next problems that we do, I am actually going to show it to you and have a lot of pauses in there so you can figure out what to do. And then I will follow up with some instructions. So I really want you to take the opportunity when I pause to work this out on your own so that you can kind of start getting in that independent practice. So let's go ahead and get started with this problem. It says, how many degrees are in an angle that cuts 2/4 of a circle? And notice I have at the top RDW, or read, draw, write. Another way that you could go about this is your quests. Start by reading the problem. You get the musical stylings of my coworker if you listen closely. We are all working together in a house, so who knows? Musical stylings of Mr. Overly. A straight line equals 2/4 or 180 degrees. So now we're going to go look at some other problems to help extend this learning. It says Danny's pizza was cut into equal slices. He ate one slice of the pizza. I personally would eat like 3 or 4 slices of pizza, but Danny's trying to, save all the other pizza for the other people in the family, which is very kind of him. I would not be that kind. It is asking us, what is the measure of angle A, B, C? I'm going to Mark A, B, C, so you can see it. Let's figure out the fraction that our angle ABC is. We know that Danny cut it into equal slices. So let's see what the whole is first. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is our whole. And he ate 1 slice of the pizza, which means 1 is our part. So I'm going to figure out, knowing that a whole pizza is 360 degrees, I'm going to figure out what our numerator is. So I have to figure out 8 times what equals 360. Another way that we could do this, because it's the opposite of multiplication, is to divide. So I'm going to take 8 and divide it by 360. 8 can't go into 3. So I'm going to go to 36. When I roll my 8s, I find that it can go into 36 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. I brought it on down. Now it's time to bring it on back. How many times can 8 go into 40? Multiply. So our answer is 8 times 45 equals 360. And if we wanted to go back and double check that, we could go 45 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. 8 times 4 is 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And we get 360. So we've got to do whatever we did to our denominator, to our numerator. 45 times 1 equals 45. Therefore, 1/8 of our circle is 45 360ths, or 45 degrees. We'll do 2 more. This is the last one I'm going to do with you, and the next will be your exit ticket. This says the game spinner is divided into equal sections. What is the measurement or the measure of the angle EFG? Let's first figure out what our whole and our parts are. So if we're divided into equal sections, that's going to be our whole. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And our part is going to be whatever is in the angle. 1, 2, 3. We can use the information that we learned in the previous question to answer this question, because we're still trying to get to the circle, which is going to be 360 degrees. And we figured out up here that to get from 8 to 360 by multiplication, we multiply by 45. So 8 times 4 to 5 equals 360. So I'm going to take 3 times 45. If this is too much for you, if you look at this and think that is really difficult, I totally understand. Consider doing it this way. When you're multiplying a larger number by a smaller number, if it's only 3 and it feels easier just to do repeated addition, do that. 5, 10, 15, 4, 8, 12, plus 1 is 135. That repeated addition went pretty quickly for me. But let's say that multiplication is something that you just love and that's pretty easy. Let's check that out. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1. Notice it's the same thing. Repeated addition and multiplication. Which tells me that that is what is going to be in my numerator. 135. So the measurement of angle EFG is 135. All right. This is going to be very similar to questions you've done before. I'm going to ask you to do question number 3 on a piece of paper, take a picture of it, and then turn it in to your teacher, whether it's on Google Classroom or on Facebook or on Class Dojo. Your teacher needs to see you working and see if you've learned anything from this lesson. So my kiddos are going to go to Google Classroom, and if you don't have Google Classroom, then you can find Facebook or Class Dojo. But we're looking to see all of your work and the correct answer for this question. So at this time, you can pause your screen and work on it. I absolutely loved hanging out with you today, and so did Muffin. She would like to say her goodbyes. She would like to say her goodbyes. And I can't wait to see you again on Thursday. Be safe. Get outside and play if you can. Enjoy your day. Bye.